Dispatch number 15, the least likely of heroes. It became harder and harder to concentrate as the sky above Mount Aluda drew darker by the second. Did the pitch black aura come from the nightfall itself? Or did the Legion of Wind bring it with them? It was impossible to tell. King Aras tilted his head to the side, realigning his body perfect to the position that he had himself for an impromptu meeting with the High Protectors. After a brief moment of much needed silence, the king felt a force, unlike any other, pull him from his body. Something felt different. King! Ha! Some king! Your forces are no match for my Legion of Wind. Feel the true power of Ilsindor's darkness, said Nifty, with a bite of malice in his voice. The evil lord had somehow interrupted the communication path between Aras and the High Protectors, trapping the king in an endless moment of despair. Pitch black all around, the king felt his soul break away from his physical body, dissipating into nothingness of the space surrounding him. Seconds of darkness felt like hours until a faint, bright light forced Aras's eyes to crack back open. The High Protectors had come to save him. Abomination, said Ramus, coming out of nowhere in a thunderous rage. The wind have been banished for centuries, and it's time to send you back with them. Foolish old man, said Nifty. Your powers from beyond the grave are strong, but they are no match for mine. I have the power of Ilsindor flowing through me, and with the wind under my full control, nothing in the Ardirian galaxy can match them. King Aras snapped out of the trance that he was in, the force of 1,000 simian protectors inside him, breaking the curse that Nifty had put him in. Enough! You're not welcome here! Shouted Aras ferociously, simultaneously vanishing out of the dark channel that he was in. The king opened his eyes and was greeted by Ramus along with several High Protectors. The galaxy is in far more danger than we once thought that it was. My son, said Ramus, dusting off his immortal arms. Ringbolt and the humans mentioned Nifty's cold presence. How was he able to gain the power of Ilsindor himself? Said Aras, still shaking from the celestial shift that his body had just been through. Evil lives through many hosts, said Ramus, his illuminating body walking slowly towards his son. This type of evil just so happens to have the ability to shapeshift and disrupt multi-dimensional connections. Something the likes of which I have never seen before. We must use the high powers of Simia that they've given us in order to preserve our homeland. Ramus reached into his cloak pocket and pulled out what had appeared to be a king of sorts. King Aras got back up to his feet, awestruck by his father's calm presence amongst the calamity both parties had just been through. This, my son, is one of the 10 moon relics of Ilsindor, said Ramus, handing over the keys to Aras. Hidden for centuries in Mount Aluda and protected by all the previous kings of Simia. The relic of Simia possesses the power that Nifty and his Legion of Wind are all after. While it's the only way to currently stop the battle on our own beloved moon, you must treat it with great respect and honor. Thank you, Father, said Aras, still in shock. But how can I use this to stop Nifty? Head of the moon's defense system, said Ramus. Every tower was constructed with the hidden ability to react to the moon's relic power. And at any given moment, something that I passed down to you that I thought that may just come in handy at the right time. Thank you, Father, truly. Every Simian will hear of your greatness once this battle is over, said Aras. Go, my son, Ramus said with a smirk on his face. Do me a favor and visit here more often, ideally when there isn't a galactic war being fought on our home soil. A tidal wave-like rush overcame King Aras, and his soul rocketed back down to Mount Aluda. He now knew what had to be done. Commander Sean and Vaughn sprinted up the slipway of Destiny's Fortune, making it inside the flight deck just in time as the crew prepared for battle to aid JB and the few recruits that were currently engaged with the Legion of Wind. Charkey, steady, man the gunning stations. It's time that we showed these scumbags who's boss, shouted Commander Vaughn. As for everyone else, pay close attention to the orders from here on out. Things are about to get messy. Destiny's Fortune rocketed towards the compadres, firing at will in the direction of the Reliclon, who currently surrounded JB as he attempted to finish off the wind leader, Vileco. Before they could reach the battle, another formation of characters broke into the simian atmosphere. Rainbow! Shouted Vada as he and the rest of the Theoluviums made a beeline towards the battle site of Simia, their turtle-like jetpacks fully intact and ready to strike down on the Recliclon. Alongside Ringbolt's crew, hundreds of skull-like creatures cast a shadow of darkness that blinded even the most loyal of the Win army. The allies circled in the Relicron and, well, they were moving in on JB's crew. What are those things? Said Commander Sean, completely taken aback at the forces aiding the simians. The Deadhead Skull Troopers had finally arrived, said Ringbolt with a rare smile on his face. A longtime ally of Simia and the Theoluvians. The Deadheads have been friends with the High Protectors for generations, aiding whatever and whenever evil greater than their own strikes. The Skull Troopers swept down upon the Recliclon, imposing their will on the evil that dared to enter the fiery reign of Mount Aluda. While the Battle of Semia raged on, King Aras made his way to the nearest defense tower. My king, we must restore the moon's generative shields at once. We can only hold them for so long, said Zandar, who stayed back from the battle to specifically help King Aras on this mission. Nothing to fear, Zandar, for I have been blessed with the opportunity to wield the sacred relic of Simia, said King Aras, holding up the key into the darkness to get some sort of reflection. But, my king, the relic has only been talked about as a sacred myth for centuries. Are you sure this is going to work? Said Zandar, laying down his shield out of respect. It'll work. I bet the High Protector's on it, said King Aras. The royal crew pulled up to their newly repaired defense tower, eyeing a slot within the original infrastructure that seemed like it didn't belong. King Aras pulled out the relic and moved it towards a defense tower. Like butter, the specific portion of the defense tower melted and morphed into a keyhole for the simian chosen one to use. It was time to activate the first relic. As King Aras turned the key, a sense of overwhelming power flowed through his veins. He looked up to the sky to see the array of defense towers all aligning in perfect unison under his new power, eliminating Recliclon and forcing the Legion of Wind to retreat back into the Ardirian atmosphere. The volcanic streaks of fire penetrated all wind ships, and they disappeared into the atmosphere. The Recliclon struck on the ground from burning alive in the process, a brutal start to an eventual long line of battles. Destiny's Fortune landed right outside the newly renovated defense tower, afraid to make the same mistake twice. Eklikron and the leader of the Deadhead Skull Troopers approached King Aras, Ringbolt, and the commanders with a proposal. My friends, the power of the Legion of Wind cannot be underestimated. We must combine forces to fight together in order to save the rest of Ardir, as it stands today. Please accept this invitation of coordinates to join us in the next steps of battle. The Deadhead's leader pulled out a polycube of some sorts, one of the only forms of stealth transportation that still existed within the galaxy. King Aras looked at the cube, then back around at each of the leaders, as if they were in a huddle of a 2-minute warning of a football game. Let's kick Nifty and this so-called Legion of Wind's ass. What do you say?
Recruits, it's time for you to choose what you think happens next. This week's voting process decides the name and setting of Destiny's Fortune's next destination. Select 1 for Tiana, a human jungle environment with ample amounts of weaponry. Select 2 for Drizor 5, an asteroid field known for its abundance of metals. And select 3 for Brazaria, a pub hub featuring the biggest casino in the Ardarian galaxy. Head to the Choose Your Own Adventure channel in the Shot to the Moon Discord and discuss your choices with fellow Space Pass holders. Listen to next week's podcast to hear what happens next.